Hello everyone, welcome back to another Commander review for Magic the Gathering. Today, we are talking about Seshiro the Anointed from the Champions of Kamigawa set. Now, Seshiro is a Snake Monk, it's a 3/4, and it has a mana value of 6, 4 generic and 2 green mana. And then it has a static ability, other snakes you control get +2/+2, and a triggered ability. Whenever a snake you control deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card, which is very cool, very powerful, and very fitting for snakes for some reason. A lot of snakes have that ability, which I think is very fun. We're going to utilize that a lot. No card rulings for this commander, very straightforward. And a card I chose to synergize is Kashi Tribe Elite. It also benefits you for having snakes, especially your legendary snakes. It gives them Shroud, and it has a great ability when it deals combat damage to a creature. Tap that creature so it can get rid of blockers so that you can attack with more snakes. Speaking of snakes, the deck that I am going to be building around this commander is Snake Tribal. We are going to be going wide mostly with snakes, but there are some really cool and powerful snakes that we can go tall with as well. A popular deck idea on EDHREC is kind of just focusing on just casting a bunch of snakes and kind of going almost Storm. It focuses a little bit more on the going tall aspect, where you want to cast a bunch of snake creatures, make all those snakes really big, and then go in for a big swing of damage. And it does have the benefit that there's a lot of snakes with Death Touch. And then lastly, a weird, janky build around. Of course, I had to try and figure out something to do with Endless Swarm. The epic mechanic is really difficult to try and build a functional deck around, especially when you're doing a 4-player game, when you essentially are making it so you can only ever cast one spell per turn. Makes it really difficult to play with the epic cycle of spells. So Endless Swarm, for a reminder, for the epic text, for the rest of the game, you can't play spells. At the beginning of each of your upkeeps, copy the spell except for its epic ability. And that does make it really hard, because if you get to 8 mana and then you play this spell, this is the only spell you're playing for the rest of the game. So you gotta be very careful and very strategic on when and how you want to play this card. If you can do it, however, you put a 1/1 green snake creature token into play for each card in your hand. So what are we going to do with this card if we can build a deck around it? Well, kind of like mono white turning tokens into angels, we're going to do mono green's new version, March of the World Ooze, where we want to turn all of our creatures into 6/6 oozes in addition to their other types, which is very cool. And it does have the added benefit of whenever our opponents cast spells, we also make green elephant creature tokens that will be 3/3s but become 6/6s, which is really cool. And then obviously the way to get around not casting spells is to play a bunch of cards that you can utilize from your hand that don't actually require you casting them. One of the greatest ways of doing that is, of course, cycling. And there's a lot of cards out there that give you benefits if you cycle those cards. So this would be a really fun and interesting deck to talk about more with you guys. I'd love to get your insights on how we could build an Endless Swarm deck with this commander. And that is going to do it for Seshiro the Anointed. Really cool card, and really love snakes. It has a really cool triggered ability to draw you a bunch of cards. Snakes are really easy to make token copies of, especially in green, and so people have been building around this commander a lot. There's a lot of different ways you can build around this commander. You can just do traditional snakes, you could do like traditional aggro and mono green. Lots of different ways to build this commander, which is why it has the ranking of S, as many of these commanders do. We'll be getting a look at the very interesting tier list at the end of this set, which we are almost finished with this set, by the way. But that's going to do it for this commander. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any comments or questions, let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for all your support, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!